Hello, welcome to my home. Please come in. Today we've got this setup today, very different to the workshop. But I thought it was a good idea for you to see where I live, how I live. This is exactly the way you would find my home. Maybe a coffee mug here and there. But for the most part, this is not staged. And I want you to see my furniture, and I want you to hopefully get inspired to make your own and live with your own furniture. I've been living here for the past 5 years, more or less, and I found a combination of furniture that really works well for me. And some of the pieces I made them because I needed them. I made it because I wanted to explore new techniques or new designs that I hadn't done before, and also thinking in filling this house in a way that suits my style, my way of living, and my tastes. You will find two types of furniture here in my house. On one hand, what I used to call the standards, which is a collection of batch-produced items in small batch productions of 3, 5 pieces. For instance, this wall cabinet here, this was a simplified, still very well made, solid timber of course, but simplified so that you could make them either to specific dimensions for the client or in small batch productions. So you could make 3 carcasses at a time, and of course making 3 pieces or 5 pieces or even 10 pieces is much less cost effective and time effective than making 1 piece 10 times or 3 times. So this batch production logic can be applied into the small workshop, and it can be very useful and very interesting to explore as a business opportunity, especially because it's much easier to sell than one-off bespoke pieces. And so that was my first attempt at becoming a professional, was through solid timber batch productions. And this is one example. In the next videos, I'll show you every piece. We'll discuss every piece in detail. Now it's an overview, and you will see there's a long playlist that will be uploading, explaining in detail every piece. This would be the other idea. This is a one-of-a-kind bespoke piece, or we could say a one-off piece to be more precise. And this was created to host or to contain my teaware collection. I'm into the practice and study of Far Eastern teas, which is something I've managed to keep completely hidden from the internet, and I'm very happy to keep it this way, so don't ask any questions. But this is a big part of my life, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity to create meaningful pieces, and this is one of them. And there's so much to discuss about this one, but I'll leave it for later, for a separate video. So here you have my trestle table, which is very easy to take on and off. And you can see I have some stones underneath. That's because sometimes I like to sit on the floor and have an empty space, and I do that very regularly. So I can knock it down very easily and sit on the ground in a matter of a few minutes, and I'll show you that as well. And here we have my slant front cabinet. You might recognize many of these pieces from the furniture and cabinet making articles I've been making about them. And eventually I will share those articles with you in the YouTube membership side. I want to recombine them, get the pictures bigger, but mainly you'll find all the information there nicely written. So here's where I study. Nowadays I'm studying Japanese for the last year and a half, and I'm really enjoying it. So this is a slant front cabinet, much inspired by the 18th century examples we have both in Europe and also in the United States, but it's reshaped on the inside so that I can have a more spacious feeling, not so crowded, no pigeonholes, and still there is some depth to it. So it's a very comfortable space for studying. This is an heirloom. My mother used to have breakfast in this chair, and my grandmother used to paint it in different colors. So as the paint peels off, you can find all the different very funky colors in which this chair was painted. And I just love it. Very comfortable. A simple one, but very good. And here I have this kind of multi-purpose living room, which I use for various things. And I have some interesting pieces here. This one, I didn't make it myself. It's the only piece of furniture in the house that I've bought to a craftsman. Actually, it's a craftswoman, Joanna Gargante, who studied in Sweden. And she's a great cabinet maker, and I just fell in love with this rocking chair. Wall mirror in walnut, which was inspired by an antique from Denmark, and I made my own version, making only a few minor tweaks, but it's mostly somebody else's design, actually from the 50s or 40s. That's the shaker table. It's a console table that actually was a course, a live course, which I did years ago, and we also recorded it in Spanish. That was my first online course, and I'm very happy I did it because it was the kind of the entryway into this whole online course and everything that has led to the YouTube membership subscription. So that was a great thing. We've had lots of fun. One of my early prototypes of winter chairs, not good for sitting because the materials are not really good, and the sections of the joinery and so on make it weak. So that was kind of a first try. And here's another unique piece, a one-off. This one is made from domestic cherry. Actually, I bought this log and I've seen the log, I've seen the tree, and I've seen it become this piece, which has a beautiful marquetry pattern that was designed by Jenny Ruffet and executed by Beatriz Zuazo, my colleague marketeer. And there are so many things to explain about this one. I can give you a quick preview of the inside. And so this is a file cabinet, as you can see, as the ones you would find in the 19th and 20th century in France and other parts of Central Europe, with these drawers here, which are relieved at the front, and the French insist to call them English drawers, but they have nothing to do with proper English style drawers, really. And these logs here, and here it is. Domestic cherry at its best. And now we can go to the bedroom and I'll show you the things I have here. I have a number of these corded stools in two heights, the standard and the bar height, and they're made in walnut. I find them very useful for many things other than sitting. They can be nightstands, auxiliary tables, and many things. So I have them around the house and I use them to just put stuff in them, and that's very convenient. Also, if I have visits and we run out of chairs, I know I have several of these. I'm very pleased with it, and it was also an attempt at batch producing stools. I love walnut and I love the combination, in this case with hemp cord, but nowadays I would use it with proper Danish paper cord. So yeah, they are very handy, and I like combining materials. Not everything has to be made of wood. And this is one of my favorite pieces. I like them all. And by the way, we are going to be making one of these in the membership channel for the advanced membership, because I think it's a wonderful chest of drawers in the dovetail form, dovetail carcass, and I really love this one. It also comes from a cherry log that I saw myself. I bought it as a log, and I did the whole process. And much to my surprise, I found it had this amazing figure, and it's getting more and more and more beautiful every year, because cherry does that. It's the only wood I know that improves over the years. Not only ages decently, but actually improves its look. It becomes more deeper, and finger hole underneath the front. And I made my best to achieve a fine piston fit so that you can open and close beautifully the drawers, and they work well all year round. Now the bed has a headboard in a frame and panel form with walnut. And this is a kind of poplar that I fell in love with this plank, and I only had one. Actually, it was a present from a friend, and I decided to use it here, and it feels very nice and smooth, and I like the colors of it. Today is not the best day because it's rather cloudy, but you can get an idea. And there are several chamfers and recesses, as always, to create texture. And finally, this nightstand. We produced this for a Spanish online course. Mainly it was a practice of mortise and tenon joints, and we tried to make a structure that was as simple as possible with the least number possible of joints, and it goes with 4 stub tenons and 4 through tenons, which are, as you can see, wedged here for contrast and for good looks and for strength as well. So this is it for the most part. There are a few more pieces I'll show you in separate specific videos. And I hope you found this inspiring. I hope it sparked some ideas, and I hope you will give it a go and make your own furniture. And also the experience of living with your furniture, watch it grow, watch it age. They become kind of friends, quiet friends that keep you company throughout the day in everyday life, and you can develop deep bonds and deep relationships with the furniture you make. Actually, the more years I live with the furniture, the more I realize that when I made it, I didn't know what was I making, and then you get to use it, you get to know it deeper, and you see the details. Maybe one day you'll notice some saw cuts that perhaps you didn't make so perfectly, or some detail in the grain, or and it's kind of every one of them has its own character, its own individuality, and it's linked to a story, to a past, but it's also, and perhaps more importantly, a friend in your daily life, which is something I really enjoy, I really appreciate. And this is meaningful. This has inherent meaning. And hopefully somebody else will enjoy these pieces long after I'm gone. I live in this illusion that they might last for generations, as well as my tools. And a tree takes many decades in growing to a decent size, and then you fell it, and then it becomes, in a short period of time, it becomes a piece of furniture that can last for many centuries. So you could say the art of cabinet making consists in a very brief intersection between the long life of a tree and the long life of a piece of furniture. And being a witness to that, not only a maker, it gives you a different perspective. So I hope you can explore that, and I hope you'll follow along in our channel here, where I'll show you everything I know about cabinet making.